Sunday evening. Hello. I'm just sitting out here with the fresh air, the wind blowing sort of in the background, and light rain falling on the tin roof. Just breathing into this moment. And I know that, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm, find myself just challenged from time to time during the day to unlock my body because it just gets so tied up in the intensity and the tensions that I can feel outside of myself, and all the things that I should be doing, and the to-do list that's never ending, and all of the stuff that I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I'm really trying to get in alignment with allowing myself better to sink into the place of celebrating what I did do, what I was able to accomplish, the things that I remain dedicated to, and the integral texture that I treated those things with. So today, as I spoke about yesterday about changing the journey, the quest with Neil Diamond Walsh, I changed it because I was 12 days behind and just feeling like I could not get out of from underneath of the water. And being that it was an investment, something I invested my money in, and wanted to give it the justification and energy, time, focus that it deserves, I changed it to today. And what I didn't learn when I was rushing through it over the last 12 days when I was behind was I missed a huge foundational piece at the beginning. Typical of me, rushing in, not reading all of the instructions. Let's go in a hurry for some reason to get nowhere quickly, because usually I have to do things 2 or 3 times because I haven't read or comprehended what I need to do the first time. And so it's just my nature to rush in, or it has been in theory up until this point in time, the typical way that I do things. It's like, and I don't know where the feeling of rush, everything's in a hurry, everything's rushed, it came from. I can't quite pinpoint where I developed that habit. And then I find myself really frustrated that I haven't gotten it yet. And after what, 30, 40, I think this is day 41 now of intentionally, living towards, gaining access to myself and being better to myself and being kinder to myself, especially during this time of the pandemic, because at the beginning I was like locked down in shock, in fear, like many people. And now I'm dancing in those places still, but nowhere near what I was. It's not the intensity that it was, and it's not the elongation that it was. So I still go there. I can feel my body's reaction today, similar to yesterday, where it's just a felt experience of the tightness in my body, but I'm super aware that it's happening, and I'm working to allow myself to loosen that stuff up. And I have a sneaking suspicion that it's because I'm starting this quest, and I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm pretty sure that I know somewhat what to expect, and that these have been some of the depths that I've been afraid to go my whole life, face some of the truths that I have been afraid to face, some of the levels of honesty that I need to be with myself and others, speaking my truth and not feeling like I'm going to cause World War III. And just standing in my power when I do so, but not against anything, just for myself. And the difference in that energy, I've been, from what I can remember in my experiences, ready for combat at every given moment, based on my experiences in this life and how many times that I've experienced massive betrayal, and how many times I've been gutted, because truly I love people. I just love them with my whole heart, and I am sometimes feel like I'm naive, that I let people in too easily, that I've been hurt too many times because I'm vulnerable, all of the stuff. But the truth is, I taught people how to treat me by not standing my power, by not standing up for myself, by not telling my truth, and not feeling like I need to, like, let's duke this out. I'm going to come at you. But I feel, from a very young child, I had an opinion. It was often not the same as other people's, including and mostly my dad's. And he fought me tooth and nail on my opinion being wrong. And I have replicated that in all of the work that I've done, in most of the relationships that I have, that somehow there's this war, there's this battle that goes on, and it's this constant one up, one up, one up. When really, realistically, nothing is one way or the other. That everything exists within that dichotomy. You know, I was asked today to write about who am I? What am I? Who is God? What is God? My understanding of these constructs or these ideas. And I couldn't keep up. I was writing so fast. But when, I was writing, what came up quite often was, I am light, I am dark. I am kind, I am mean. I am love. I am rejection. Because I can be all of those things. And I think sometimes we, as seekers, tend to only want to seek for the things that we deem as good, or that are deemed as good from outside of us. And the truth is, that is incongruent to who I actually am, which is all encompassing and all of those things all at once. And the more that I live into that and breathe into that and live in the pause, breathe and live in the pause for a minute, and then have a reaction, and then have a judgment or some level of appreciation or whatever the experience that you're trying to create. But being more mindful in that place allows us to actually create from a higher sense instead of that knee-jerk reaction. Because I know that I can be hook, line, sinker and triggered big time. And sometimes I'm really good at recognizing it and noticing it and being able to sort of redirect that fairly immediately. And other times I'm like, am I new here? Did I just get here? What was that? That was just crazy. That was absolutely insane. Nothing that I want to be, yet here I was being all of that. And so learning to love myself in the muck of it all, because I am all of those things. We are all of those things. And learning to be gentle with myself and kind to myself. Which for some reason at some point in time I picked up the billy bat and I started beating myself up because I wasn't what other people thought that I should be. And I got the notion and I kept looking outside of myself. Okay, so you tell me what I'm supposed to be and then I'll be that. And what do I need to be for you? And well, how about over there? And what about that person? And what about work? And what about play? And what about kids? And what about social events? What about community? And I ended up wearing, all of these masks. And sure, there's a lot of bravado there. I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of character, and I show up in those places. But it's not always exactly how I'm feeling in the moment. And sometimes it's too scary to just be vulnerable and say, you know what? I'm not okay. I'm not okay in this moment. And so, what I know about anything is life is a process, but it is also full of processes. So, the overarching picture, the larger picture of everything is a process, absolutely. But I am continually going through small incremental step processes in all of the areas that I deem as most important to me, where I spend my time, where I spend my energy, where I spend my focus, where I invest my money, where I invest in myself to create myself anew in each moment of every day. And I'm learning what a gift it is to give myself, the grace. That's where the pause comes in, the grace. Like I said, sometimes I get it really right and I feel really good about myself and I feel like I'm rocking it and I'm doing really well. And then literally it could be a moment later. I'm off track, I'm off kilter. Something swooped in and took me out of the game and I'm triggered or what have you. But I'm learning new ways of approaching those things with kindness and love and understanding, and learning how I can refocus on what it is that I want in any given moment. Remember, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And if I'm unclear on that, to gain the clarity that I need to figure it out. And so, you know, before I was coming out here, I was, diligently finishing my homework going, oh my gosh, when is this going to be done? Like, this is so much time. This is so much effort. I can't believe. And yet remaining present with it. So, in that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm in resistance, I really don't want to be doing this, to actually, this is what you want to be doing. You've committed to it. You've given yourself the agreement, you've given yourself the commitment, and you've made the commitment or recommitted yourself to following along so that you learn at a pace that is reasonable, so that you're not trying to digest things by cramming them down, which is typical for me. And so I'm getting more and more in tune on a daily basis of, what do I need in this moment? How am I feeling in this moment? What's going on for me in this moment? And even around food, getting to learn, like, did I even taste that? Why am I eating right now? What's going on for me? Such that, when I wake up and I'm tapping my foot, I'm like, there is something going on here, because what is that feeling? Okay. And I've started the practice of waking up in the morning, because I was like, gratitude is such a great experience, and it's such a great thing to ignite that sort of electrical charge of of creation within me. But if my body's hurting and stuff, then it's hard to rectify that, or align that sometimes. So my experience has been in the last couple of days really saying, thank you, organs, for supporting me in getting the toxins out of my system, for operating in a way that supports my life, that supports my health, which I'm quite sure is not great at this point in time. I have no massive, actual indicators, but I know that if I tell myself the truth about that, I am not of optimal health. I am not living at a level of vitality that I want to be. I am in the process of moving in that direction, which I'm proud of, but the destination is still a ways away. And so, if I take one thing every day that I can, digest in a way that starts to shift my perceptions, starts to shift my point of view, starts to shift my understanding, and certainly then starts to shift the desire towards action. Because this is not a race. It's not a race. And the intensity is something that I learned from somewhere a long time ago. And it isn't a place that feels good in my body. And so when I'm here, it is my choice to move into that other place, or at least attempt to, continue to move myself to the depth of breathing in my body, being still and calm and quiet, feeling and sensing the divinity within. And it was through my 21-day meditation practice that I started actually feeling landed, grounded, for the very first time if at all, truly understanding it from a different level, understanding it from a different point of view, and a different consciousness, and a different willingness. Because at this point in time, looking at the world and the state that it's in, I keep thinking to myself, if not now, then when? These are epic times with epic opportunities. And, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be on this quest and everybody needs to be doing what I'm doing. You do what your heart tells you to do. I can't tell you what that is. All I know is that for the very first time, I'm actually listening to my voice. Lead me. And I'm not standing in fear of what that looks like. I'm not willing to stop myself anymore. Because living small and contracted and fragmented and untrue to myself is hurting me. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. We all have a hero's journey. Your story, whatever it is valid. You're worthy, you're enough, Everyone's story is worth being told. I see you. I feel you. I appreciate you. And I'm not just talking to myself in the camera. I really do really appreciate anyone who happens to be watching. I'm very thankful that you might hear something that I'm saying and that it might in some way make a contribution to improving your life, shifting your ideas, and in whatever way that I can be in service to raising the vibration of not only myself, but the humanity and the planet around me, that I'm living in alignment with my purpose. And that matters to me. I love inclusion. I love community. And I'm learning to love myself. And I hope you're doing the same. So much love out there. See you tomorrow.